establishing the Srimad Bhagavatam as the means to actually uh, achieve that purpose, to provide the means in the age of Kali for people to be able to, for the people of the world to be able to shield, to provide the means, not only protect themselves for the influence of Kali, for actually to be able to, being able to again reawaken the, the essential part of the self, which is this, the, the essential part of the self, which is this, the the essential part of the self, which is this. Sabai punsam paro dharmo yato bhaktir adokshi essential. This bhakti to the Supreme Personality. Sabai punsam paro dharmo yato bhaktir adokshi essential. This bhakti to the Supreme Personality. Sabai punsam paro dharmo so in the narration of the Bhagavatam, it is explained that it's all about this principle of Yato Bhakti Radokshaya. Is the sweetness in all levels, from all levels of from the aspects of the creation all the way to the most intimate relationships that are there with the personality of God. So you go from the whole spectrum of the different relationships that the living entities have, of the different relationships, from neutral, the different to servitorship relationships, to friendship, the different parental to servitorship, all that plus another to the different parental to servitorship, 7 types of plus another to the different secondary relationships. All that is covered through stories of the reciprocation that is there between Krishna and his devotees. So it's simply about that. And through the Bhagavatam, we constantly hear one story after one story of great, great personalities, of how they have these beautiful reciprocations with the Lord. In the Bhagavatam starts with, we hear how the reciprocations with the Pandavas, with Queen Kunti, with Bhishmadev, Parikshit Maharaj, and then when we go to the second canto, and also Vidura, all this, that's the first canto. And in the second canto, we hear about the reciprocations with Lord Brahma, how the Lord imparts knowledge within Brahma's heart, and directs Lord Brahma with instructions from within the heart. And as Lord Brahma becomes fully realized, the Lord reveals, this giving entrance to the whole, spiritual, the most intimate realm of Goloka Vrindavan, to be able to witness and see that, fully realize it. And as he connect with Lord Brahma, he shakes his hand. He shakes his hand. And so we hear over and over Maitreya Muni, Lord Kapila and Devahuti, his mother Devahuti, and Swayambhuva Manu, Kim Priyavrata. So the line goes and goes and goes. Dhruva Maharaj, um, Ambarish Maharaj, and so on, Prahlad Maharaj. These are all wonderful, amazing relationships. Each one of them full of sweetness and full of, loving connections. How much the Lord have this affection for his devotees and the devotees' affection for the Lord. To the point that the Lord in several places declares it. During the pastime with Ambarish Maharaj, in which Durvasa Muni he got the revelation from the Lord himself. He said that I am always in the heart of my devotees. They always they always have me in their heart, and I always have them in my heart. So he just revealed that part. And now, of course, when we enter into the 10th canto, we enter into the most intimate, loving relationships that are there, especially in the Vrindavan Lila pastimes of the Lord. And in this Dwarka Lila, the opulence of the Lord is a less intimate, but still the same principle is there, the principle of prema, the principle of this loving relationship and loving reciprocation. So we see here that the particular loving relationship that is there between Lord Krishna and his devotee Jambavan. A relationship of love that was already manifested there during the pastimes of Jambavan and Lord Ramachandra. And in the case of Jambavan, it has a long story of those beautiful connections with the personality of Godhead. As he circumambulated, as we heard yesterday and the other day on Tuesday, how he honored Lord Vamanadev in his Trivarkam form, his gigantic form that covers the whole three worlds. He circumambulated him several times to honor him. And after the victory of Lord Vamanadev over Bali Maharaj, he was the main cheerleader. He was, blowing horns and playing drums and crying, all the Vijay and Jais for Lord Vamanadev. So there's a long relationship with the Lord that fully blossomed with Lord Ramachandra and manifests in its highest form, in and now rekindle it with Lord Krishna. And the description is just very touching because Srila Jiva Goswami tells us that while fighting with Jambavan, like I mentioned yesterday, because of Yoga Maya, he was not able to recognize Krishna immediately. So he fought with, with all the when you fight, it's your enemy and you have to defeat. So there's no love in that type of fighting. It's like it's life and death. Like that. So he fought, but Lord Krishna was not covered. Lord Krishna is Achyuta. He's mentioned here as Achyuta. He never fall down. He never gets covered. He's always fully cognizant. Abhigyashwara, fully cognizant. So Srila Jiva Goswami tells that he Even while fighting, he never forgot the affection that he had for his devotee. So, for the Lord, uh, this type of fighting is part of the loving reciprocation. Sometimes you see uh, um, this type of affectionate fighting, that looks very scary, but it's actually, sometimes you see the lion cubs fighting with each other and biting each other and, you know, doing these type of things, but is it creates pleasure, it creates enhances the love. And we saw that type of um, reciprocation between Bhishmadev and Lord Krishna. So from Krishna's side, it was like that. It was he was receiving this great pleasure in fighting with his devotee, never forgetting the affection that he had with his devotee. From the side of Jambavan, in order to be able to really fight the Lord, he had to be covered by Yoga Maya. But immediately after all that time with fighting with the Lord, uh, when that Yoga Maya was removed, he immediately recognized his Lord. And at that moment of recognition, then this beautiful, affectionate moment happens that Srila Jiva Goswami described how Lord Krishna, with very, very affectionate eyes, you can picture it. That moment, I mean, maybe not all of us, but at least some of us experience, parental love like that. And, when you get whole, just come to mind my grandfather. He was very loving. And he used to hold, I mean, I still remember as a baby, he's holding and sort of dancing you like this. And then singing some nonsense song, like that. But it was, I mean, I still have those memories, even as a baby. And so having that touch, so it is said here that Krishna, with loving eyes, he touched the body of Jambavan with his both hands. So in one sense, he was touching. I mean, it doesn't say he was massaging or something, what he was doing, but he was touching. And with his touch, with his both hands, he relieved all the pain and whatever suffering was there. So that connection of Krishna with his beautiful smile and those Aravindaksha, those lotus eyes, lovingly seeing Jambavan and touching him with both hands to relieve him of all his pain. That is a definition of what this Yato Bhakti Radokshaya is, this pure love that is there between Krishna and his devotee. There is something very, very beautiful, very touching, and it's very important for us to hear because we also have that. We also have that as a living entity. We also have that. It's just part of our essence. And it's what we have to reawaken because it's there. As soon as that covering, in our case, or most of us case, is not Yoga Maya, of course, it's Mahamaya. Regardless, that covering when becomes removed, and that's what you have. Krishna and you connected in this pure love. So in the Chilaos, there's also some very nice comments on the other verses. In verse number 31, in which Krishna tells Jambavan that the reason why he came into the cave to actually take the jewel to disprove these false accusations against Krishna. Then Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments, many of us came to this cave for the jewel, and I have entered it, not stated, but understood, in order to dispel the false rumors about me by that jewel. And Srila Jiva Goswami comments, I came to the door of your cave for the jewel. With the jewel, I will completely remove suspicions. But seeing Prasenna killed by the lion, doubt is removed. But to completely remove doubt, the jewel should be brought back. The Lord had considered saying this, but for fear of repetition, he only hinted at it. And then Jambavan's response. So Jambavan's response is he happily honored Lord Krishna by not only immediately giving the jewel, but also offering his beautiful daughter, Jambavati. And as you recall, quite different than Satyajit. When Satyajit was requested by the Lord, please give the jewel. And you can give the jewel to King Ugrasena. Satyajit refused. Jambavan immediately, not even, thinking about it. And in one sense, you see, Jambavan is not, the idea that he, although had this valuable jewel, he acquired this valuable jewel by killing the lion. He didn't give much value to that jewel. He just gave it to his boy, little baby, as a play toy. Now, one may think, well, what do you expect from a bear? Is not a very, it's a simple, doesn't understand the value. At the end, a bear is a bear. But no, we know that Jambavan was not only wise, but he was, the main minister of great kings during the Tetra Yuga, including Sugriva Maharaj and Lord Ramachandra. So he was extremely wise. I mean, he knew so many things. He was the one who was able to direct Hanuman to find the specific herb who was going to cure Lakshman of the poison that that he received from the arrows of Indrajit. So he knew all these things. He knew where, he very specific. He was extremely wise. So it would be a mistake to think that he didn't know that the value of that stone. However, it tells you about his level, his consciousness. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti reveals something very interesting here in this verse. No, Srila Jiva Goswami is the one who says something. Srila Jiva Goswami comments this. This is very interesting. His daughter had a human form, even though he had an animal form. Yet he considered her his daughter. This was possible because, as a son of a Devata, he is the son of Lord Brahma, he could take various forms. She was unmarried, Jambavati, Kanyam. Because of great affection for her, he named her after himself as Jambavati. The story is told in the Mathura Harivansa. So here's something that reveals a little more about Jambavan and Jambavati. During the appearance of Lord Ramachandra, this daughter has been born. Jambavan wanted to give her to Ram alone. Ram said that since in that avatar he has only one wife as a vow, it was not possible. It will happen during the appearance of Krishna. He ordered him to do austerities for this purpose for many days. And I assume not only many days, for the greatest stretch of time in between Tetra Yuga, which was during the passings of Lord Ramachandra, all the way to the end of Dwarpa Yuga, and was the passings of Lord Krishna. It will happen during the... Remembering that after a long time he obtained his desire after doing his austerities at Govardhan. So Jambavan performed austerities at Govardhan, according to Srila Jiva Goswami. And so Jambavati was also, she remains like a very young girl, but she had many years. We can hear that, no? So, so immediately he fulfilled his desire to honor and to offer whatever was the most valuable and most dear to him, Jambavan, he offered to Lord Krishna. So again, just reflections of these beautiful reciprocations of love between Krishna and his devotees. And yes, didn't have a lot of time to prepare for these things, so I'm going to stop here and just invite for some questions and comments.
The mention, that you've been highlighting, that loving reciprocation between Krishna and his devotee, and in this case, Jambavan, and the mention of Krishna placing his hands, as you described it, both sides of Jambavan's body. Actually, I think earlier on there was a description that his muscles got severely pummeled by Krishna. The muscles got really pummeled.
Yeah, by that pummeling is that he realized, my Lord. I mean, in one sense, when someone is being beaten like that, you realize death, which is a form of Krishna. So for the materialistic person, this type of situation is basically seeing the face of death. And then Prabhupada said, regardless, you have to offer dandavats when Krishna comes in the form of death. So, but by that pommeling was that Jambavan realized it's Krishna. It have to be Krishna. It cannot be someone else but Krishna. So then, that's when the whole thing got removed. Yeah, quite something. Wonderful stories. Yes, Daisha.
So you're speaking about the reciprocation, same thing of love between the devotee and Krishna. Um, but you also said that like when fighting with an enemy, there is no love. So Jambavan in this situation didn't recognize Krishna until, you know, towards the end. So I guess I'm trying to understand, how was that a loving service to Krishna? I know it was a service to Krishna because it was affectionate for Krishna. He didn't forget that affection, but Jambavan wasn't so conscious about it. So how does that?
Well, it's because the Lord induces that. That's what the Yoga Maya does. That in order to facilitate the pastimes of the Lord, then it necessitates that. So only very intimate devotees, advanced devotees who are in that position, are able to fulfill that for Krishna. So it's simply that, in order to facilitate. Same thing happens, with Jai and Vijay. When they come as demons, as Hiranyakashipu and Ravana and Shishupal, all that, as they come like that, they can remember, in order to perform that service, to facilitate Krishna's pastime, they have to forget. They have to forget. So, but that forgetfulness is not like our forgetfulness. Their forgetfulness is because they want to serve Krishna. They have the desire. They want whatever Krishna wants, they will do. Our forgetfulness is because we want to forget Krishna. And whatever Krishna wants, if it doesn't fit what I want, then I won't do. So that's the difference. So it's just simply that. It's just Krishna's inconceivable energies and arrangements to facilitate his purposes. And the devotees are completely synced with Krishna's purposes. So Krishna has a pastime, and in that pastime, you see uh, how many lessons, important lessons, are there in each one of his pastimes. In these pastimes of the Shamantaka Yuga, there's so many important lessons that are there to learn, and it's all orchestrated by Krishna, and all his devotees are playing a part. And these are all associates of the Lord, and attached to the Lord, and they're playing their part according to the relationship that they have with the Lord. So that's how it happens. And as soon as you can see that at the moment, that Krishna, uses the Yoga Maya and remove the Yoga Maya, and then everything falls in place like that. And then the devotee, all his desires becomes fulfilled. So it always ended in this beautiful arrangement. So, yeah. Is that okay?
Yes. And so I had a second part. I just want to make sure that I have the right understanding now. It's that only exists within the spiritual world. Like here in the material world, we don't have the capability to be fighting with Krishna and then realize that it's Krishna. That's not a rasa that happens here, right?
Right. Although there are some demons uh, um, that in this material world they fought with Krishna. Not all of them receive liberation, and not all of them were like Jai and Vijay, but they were actual, demoniac personalities. Uh, but it happens that they got the great fortune to have to face Krishna. I mean, when Krishna came, when Mother Bhumi requested Krishna to come, and it was overburdened, it is said, overburdened by all kinds of demoniac kings. So, so Krishna wiped them all out, actually. Anyone that was of a particular demonian propensity or was uh, working with big time demons, like say this Jarasandha, 17 times he amassed, this huge army of millions of, soldiers that, in one sense, if you ended being with Jarasandha and fulfilling Jarasandha's purpose and the purpose of demoniac, you are in that demoniac, sort of atmosphere. They all get wiped. And Krishna used Jarasandha for that purpose. Like he knew he had the influence to get demons around him and big amount of them, and then bring them to him, and then we wipe them, send them back, come back 17 times. Hundreds and thousands of demons in his army bring to Krishna. So Krishna doesn't have to go and find them. Jarasandha was keep bringing them to him. So yeah, it happens here in this realm. And in fact, in the spiritual world, that doesn't happen. That's why the devotees, that's why Jai and Vijay volunteer, because he knew in the spiritual world no one fights Krishna. Everybody's a servant. That doesn't happen. So then Krishna have to exercise that chivalrous type of rasa in the material world. So then when he comes to the material world, who's going to fight with him as, given a really, really good fight? Then only his devotees can do that. So who's going to volunteer? Oh, Jai and Vijay thought, well, if my Lord wants that, then, we will be willing to do. And then he came the four Kumaras and cursed them, and the whole thing happened. So, so yeah, it's here when all that fighting with Krishna happened. That address the question? Yeah. Anything else? Okay. Thank you so much. Garantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Oh,